Hello and welcome everyone listening to and watching this new series of 2020 Coaching Convos. Actually, it's not so new now. I don't know why I keep saying that. With me, Julie Crabb. If you've already been listening to Case by Case Series 5, you'll know that I'm hosting conversations with guest coaches to talk about reflections from cases in their coaching practice. I know I keep saying this too, but we are, of course, upholding confidentiality in relation to the clients that we're talking about, because it's a fundamental element of our coaching practice and our ethics and our values. So you might hear us sharing information in our conversations, but it won't be attributable to any individual with whom we've worked. So let's get on with exploring what we've learned. And this will be learnings from a single case study today. And this week, my guest is Bayo Igou. I just love the succinctness and clarity of what he says on his LinkedIn profile. And so please check it out. I'm going to say this. He works with entrepreneurs ready to turn stress into structure, intrapreneurs, I'm going to probably ask a bit more about that title, leading change within complex organizations, creators and side hustlers and solo founders seeking sustainable growth, Black-led and underrepresented, underrepresented businesses aiming for long-term impact, and then young leaders who want to be exceptional, not average. So welcome, Bayo Igou of, how's this for a clever business name, BigohCoaching. How are you doing today, Bayo?
Good afternoon, Julie. Thank you very much. I'm doing well. It's a bit drab out there, very grey, very wet, but it's October, so I'm enjoying it. I'm well, thank you.
Good stuff. I'm loving the image behind you, and I can just see the blue, and I'm kind of curious to know what's that. Okay. Oh, tell me about that. That looks like something that's been done specially for you, is it?
Especially for us, so me and my partner, it's been in our homes for about 20 odd years. So, fast story short, my partner's from Poland. She came over from Poland, moved in a Polish community. She met a good friend who went to the Royal College of Art. So the 7 years of Royal College of Art, she produced a number of bits and pieces and said to us, you can take five because there's no way I'm taking this back home. And we took five pieces, and this one, the second biggest one, has been behind me in various guises, in various homes, as I said, as part of my relax. If I need to relax, I turn around and have a look at that. But more importantly, it does drive conversation.
Yeah.
She's an amazing artist. She's now based out of Greece. As I said, there's four other bits and pieces that she's put together for us. Yeah, and we're pretty pleased. Don't ask me what it means because we never did ask. We'll leave that to interpretation. But yeah, it's grand. It's nice. I like it.
Brilliant. Do you want to give her a quick shout out, Bayo?
Yeah, her name is sorry, Carrie Proskov. Carrie Proskov. And I know
Career
I'm not
Prosper.
pronouncing that properly, but I'll get my wrist slapped when my missus reads this and or she sends this over.
Oh,
I know her as Justina. That's how
Dina.
what I call her,
Okay.
Justina.
Well, maybe
Justina's
we can put her details in the episode description when we get there.
okay. I'll
Good
find
stuff.
them for you. Justina's details.
Excellent. Okay, so Bayo, you're not the first guest who I've had potential to meet previously in our training and study paths, because we've both been at Middlesex Uni and we've both been at the Coaching Academy, but bizarrely we didn't meet through those routes. We only met recently. But I have got to say that you are the very first guest, brave you, to ask me why I chose to invite you onto my podcast. You just said, "Oh, why me?" And it struck me as a very simple, but also a very smart question. So I'm going to use that just to let listeners know that I'm really aiming for as broad a diversity as possible of coach guest identities. So that if you're watching or listening to this and you're looking for a coach, you'll know there's someone out there, someone that you can relate to always. Okay. So let's get started then, Bayo. I'm really curious to know, how did you get to be a coach?
In anger.
Wow.
That's the gospel truth in anger. So, very quick whistle stop tour. I worked in social housing for over 30 years. Man and boy, that expression still stands. 1991, 92, admin officer. Then about 2015-16, I'm head of housing for a local authority, the City of London Corporation, actually. And during that time, I had my own dreams and aspirations to be the great CEO or executive director of a housing organization. That didn't happen for a number of reasons. And when I was let go the third time, after 30 odd years, I thought something's not right. This is not my place. Rewind to around about 1999, 2000 when I met my first coach, the then director, sorry, chief executive of a housing association, Richmond Housing Partnership, said, "You're all great managers, but we need you to become leaders. So we're going to get you coaches." So there's a laugh, a kerfuffle, cricket, football, tennis, what type of coach am I going to get? And he said, no, 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 no. These are coaches, leadership coaches, and performance coaches. So we thought, what's all this about? Cut to the chase, game changer for me in terms of what I was as a manager at the time. As he said, we were good managers, but I probably was a bit more autocratic, very micromanaging led, and very focused on outcome. But when I met my first coach, she worked with me through some of the challenges that I'd been going through in terms of how I grew up, this recent loss of my father, and how I projected myself in the workplace. Fast forward sort of 20 years, I started to dabble in coaching, understanding how it works, who it might work with. I did a level 5, for example, but it never occurred to me that I'd be a coach until I left in 2015-16. And I had a coach as part of my severance package. That's what they called it. It was very good. But I did kind of sneakily think, I could do a bit better than this. I think I could be really good at coaching, considering what I've done. And lo and behold, I went into coaching. Firstly, to work with people in housing, up and coming housing bods, particularly of the Afro-Caribbean genre. So I was working with them in terms of some of the obstacles I'd faced, they were about to face in really setting their stall. But then what happened was I started to network and I realized that small business owners were similarly disadvantaged in terms of their planning, their performance, and also people management. So I started to work with small business owners, leaders and founders, both in the business world and in the third sector, and still in some social housing aspects. That's how I become a coach, because I'm really into people, definitely into planning and definitely into performance.
Wow, all the P's, goodness.
I love a
And
P.
and lovely. Thank you so much for that really detailed and honest description of how you got to where you are. It's really fascinating. Okay, so, and is there anything that you're particularly doing at the moment that you want people to know about you?
Yes, I mean, we both were at the coaching academy, which was great. I subsequently went on to something called Mo Foundation, to do some additional coaching. And now I'm actually studying, preparing for my ICF PCC qualification. In fact, at 4 o'clock, I have a coach mentoring, um, 2 hours exercise with my coach and a team of other coaches who are similarly going on that journey. So I want to get my PCC and at some point get the one above that. Yeah, that's
MCC, is it?
that's it, MCC.
Yeah.
And I keep saying to myself, I know what it stands for. PCC, Master of Coaching something certification. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm going to say this. Being the Nigerian that I am, I love study. I love qualifications. But more importantly, and it's part of my journey, the acceptance within this space is moving towards becoming that accredited coach.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going down that route. I know what I've done. I know how good I can be and will be, but accreditation adds weight to that, adds kudos to what I'm trying to achieve. So
Yeah.
why not?
Yeah, I totally echo that. And I'm sitting here wanting to go like this to you because I've just been looking through the ICF core competencies for ACC, which is where I'm at, Bayo. So all hail to you.
It's not an overnight thing, as you
No.
appreciate. Our coaching mentors and the group I'm working with are pretty bang on, to be fair. So it's a lot. And will I get it the first time round? Maybe not, but I'm going to go for it and then give it a break and then go for the MCC further down the line.
Brilliant. Love it. Love the aspiration. I'm going to be following in your footsteps. Okay, so let's crack on then, Bayo, with the case that you're bringing today. And I know it's a single client, isn't it, that you particularly want to talk about? Could you give us a bit of background and context to it?
Sure. So I've been working with a client for over 18 months, and we met through our mutual networking circles. They were pretty apprehensive about being coached, actually, didn't believe in the whole process, and felt that it wasn't going to necessarily help them. They were managing a boutique marketing business, digital marketing in particular, and other elements of the digital space, and wanted to grow the business, but more importantly, seek clarity as to how and why they're doing a business. The reason for that, they had some neurodiverse aspects to their life that they were managing as well, and so overwhelm, as we think of it as solo business owners or whatever, was manifold for that person. It was really, and this sounds strange, although being in the digital space, found during COVID, post COVID, very difficult to arrange what and how they were delivering their service. So we sat together and worked out a plan of action, simply to identify what they wanted to do and how they wanted to do it, and more importantly, who with. So for that person, it was a question of clarity. How was she going to be made or create clarity in her own space in order for her to work in her business? And then we started to look at what would that, in terms of her confidence. Confidence is a big thing in terms of addressing some of those neurodiverse issues with themselves and others around her. And we started to work on confidence, which I think in both requires some form of action. And action couldn't be taken overnight, because once that person decided to do something, a number of other things had to come into play that had to be lined up in order for that one action to happen. So it was just really working through those actual and perceived obstacles that will then enable the action to be taken to give her clarity, to give her confidence. So it was always, not always, but yeah, it was always, and this is how my coaching sessions happen, is that's the action. A month, the space in between, be it 2 weeks or a month, we meet again, we review the action based on, did it give you clarity? Did it give you confidence to then take the next step? And lo and behold, that's happened, and it's happening well. The business was growing in terms of her belief, the business growing, gaining new clients. But as you delve deeper and deeper as a coach and you ask more and more questions, that wasn't really what it was all about. What it was all about was, how can I do what I'm passionate about doing? So what is that? I love writing. I write all the time, but I don't find the space or the time to do the writing I want. So rewind, you write all the time, but you don't find it. No, what she meant was, I write and I write, but I would like to produce. I'd love to be an author. And so we sat down and worked out again a plan of action in terms of, how are you going to focus on doing that as well as running a business, bearing in mind the obstacles and challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis. So we sat down again and looked at another plan in terms of how she would gain clarity and confidence and take action, to help her understand her message and the messages, help her understand how she can build confidence, then to find a time to be focused on. And lo and behold, this person has drafted many scripts, many manuals, many books, but it was about, how can she get the best one together to turn it into the book of her choice. And lo and behold, this year, very recently, that book has been written, produced, published, and is doing very well. Thank you very much. Now, anyone who knows how to write a book, it's not an overnight thing. It takes a hell of a lot of time, hell of a lot of creativity, hell of a lot of discipline. And dare I say it, I have a model with clients about strategizing. And you have your goal, you have your vision, you put a system in place, you have a strategy, and then presto, fingers crossed, it becomes successful. So we had these steps that we break, because this particular person did love to have steps and processes and systems enabled enabled her to gain that clarity and confidence. So that's how we work together. And it was really a combination of all the things that you do as a coach, that attentive listening, that hard questioning, but digging deeper, gaining the confidence and the trust of that person to just say, yeah, my business is brilliant, I know, but that's not really what I want. Well, I do want it, I've got it, but this is what's going to make me really happy. And yeah, 6 months, deep dive, and Bob's your uncle, the book is produced. So I'm really pleased about that.
Yeah,
I learned
that's
a
an
lot.
amazing story, a really amazing story, and such a great example of how coaching can bring just success beyond what you could possibly even imagine. Could we go back to the beginning of what you said, where you said the client came to you with what was a bit apprehensive about starting coaching? And I think that's probably quite a common sensation for people who've not had coaching before. Um, I'm curious about the neurodiversity of this particular client. Did did you get to understand anything from what they said about whether this was particularly an apprehensive thing for them to do because of their particular characteristics?
Yeah.
Hmm.
My learning from this, and obviously understanding how that space works, it is about building trust and confidence, allowing people in to understand the differences. So, vested as I am in equality, diversity, inclusion, there is still elements of not appreciating one's disability. And it is not a disability, it's a difference.
Hmm.
And so the other person, and then if you take the coaching, this individual gets things done. Very hands-on, very gets things done. Might take time, might take real deep analysis, but gets things done. And I believe their understanding of coaching was you're not going to get things done. The coach is not a consultant who's going to have you do things. The coach is not an advisor who's going to have to tell you things. The coach is going to be there to support. And that didn't really compute. It didn't really land well with this person because their idea of engagement was, I'm not going to tell you everything because I don't trust you and I don't believe you. I just want you to tell me how to do and what to do. So or not I, the people that referred her to me, spoke to her about me, and then our discussions and our meeting at networking events and that watching me from afar, listening to me from afar. Then the penny dropped and we met a couple of times. We had a long conversations. My backstory was interesting to her in terms of how I grew up and the challenges I had. And then we agreed to have 6 sessions based on her business. And that's my alleged forte: business coaching, leadership management, people planning, performance. So that was cool. Well, yeah, I'm getting some quick wins here. This is interesting. This is different. And this is real. I'm doing what I know I can do, but I'm doing it from a place of confidence and clarity there.
Mm.
Then that moved on. We
Mm.
moved into it.
I love what you said there about how the trust and rapport building doesn't just start in the first session or even the introductory session that you have with the client, that sometimes it's well, in fact, always, I imagine, it's about building up the relationship with the potential client and building the trust right from the get-go. That's fascinating to me.
And to me, because just share a story, when I became a coach, no one knew I was a coach for 2 years. I mean, I didn't tell LinkedIn, I didn't tell the socials because I had my own limiting beliefs. I had done so well in this previous place, I didn't think I could be as good in this new space. And so when you meet somebody who says, I'm going to do this for you, there is that hesitancy. But one of the things that coaching, and then as you said earlier, through the ICF code of ethics and values, is that relationship building, that trust thing is key. And I'm thankful and grateful that 30 odd years I did in social housing or made me really good with people. I wouldn't say I'm a people person. Well, people say I am a people person, but I'm good with people. I've met every type of person you could meet, pros and cons, goods and bads, and so I can relate to them. And so things that has helped me, I think, develop the trust and confidence with some.
Mm.
And that's key to coaching, that ability to be empathetic, understanding, and trustworthy, but equally honest to say, this isn't working. You might want to work with somebody else. And
Mm.
I am known for that. It's
Yeah.
not working. We need to part ways.
Yeah.
It's nobody's fault. It's just that that's what can happen sometimes.
Yes.
But yeah,
Especially as when you were describing that that person potentially could have been asking for a mentor rather than a coach, but actually that's something that sounds like you work through together.
yeah.
So,
And
oh, go on.
yeah, that was challenging. You're right. Yeah, that was challenging in the beginning. Why can't you just tell me? It's not going to happen that way. As with most of the clients, why can't you just tell us? No, it's not going to happen that way.
Yeah. Yes. It's almost, I've been kind of learning this a bit more recently, that quite often in a coach and coachee relationship, both sides, both parties are learning how to relate to one another. So, the coach in a way is teaching the coachee how coaching works, and the coachee is teaching the coach, this is how you coach me, kind of thing.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a building of relationship. So kind of based on that, I'm interested to know about that bit in the middle where the person came to you ostensibly looking for business coaching, and then there was that moment where she realized, I think, how did you describe it, that's not really what it was all about. But actually she was more interested in writing. How did that kind of shift come about?
I can see where we were sat talking. I'm not going to mention the place, but I can see where we were sat talking. And it didn't happen overnight because there's still those goals set around the business, and the metrics that she had set herself were there. But as she was getting closer and closer to delivering on those metrics, there was going to be more and more, she was creating more and more space for her to do something slightly different or slightly more challenging. But in this case, what she, and actually, it panned out that the book, yeah, because we want to be anonymous here and it's really hot off the press, but the passion that person had were in other genres of books, right? Loads of them ready to go, but hadn't been down that journey of writing a book. And as I said, writing a book is not just about here you go, have a go, editing, publication, artists, and all that stuff. But the genre book that was written at the end aligned with the business. And so that jump, that sort of step to just put a business book out there aligned to the business and what she has been doing for so many years was a perfect stepping stone to some of her other passions. And that is the next part of the journey. Because I think for me, for coaching or any type of intervention, it's about understanding what a journey might look like. So the first step leads to a second step, leads to a third, fourth, fifth. But that first step might not be anywhere near resembling what that fifth step is. So I think what was open, I talk about keys. You have a key to a door, and the door's been opened. Or it might be a party. You've been let into a party, and you're having a great time, and then you meet some people, and they invite you to another party and another party. So it's all about the key or the party. If you've enjoyed it, and you've enjoyed opening a door, and then you see another key on a mat, you want to open that door, then you go for it. And that's the stepping stones to that person's success. And that, I think, is what's happened. So going back to your answer, it was, yes, I'm getting my targets. My turnover is good. My profits are good. My management is good. I'm finding time to do these things. Now I want to find time to do other things. It was still spinning plates, mind you, because this is a solo business person, still spinning plates, but there was enough systems and processes in place to say, business, run well. Now give me time to do this. This, by the way, is aligned. Now I've done it. What happens next?
Wonderful. I love the metaphors that you were using there. And we coaches, we love metaphors, don't we? Yeah. Okay. So I have a question about this client because I'm hearing that she working with her has given you a lot. What was the best learning that you gained from working with her?
If you don't ask, you don't get. I mean, that is a mantra I've had for many, but you really got to ask yourself what you want and then set in place the tools to help you do it. And for me, it's learning about other people's obstacles, challenges, real or perceived. You know, we all have them. Some would say more so than others, but it's really understanding that you know you're looking at something, you're looking at somebody, and wow, it's deep. It's deeper than that. It's
Mm,
deeper than that.
mm,
Yeah, that was something. Because sometimes it can be so obvious, but actually, it's nothing like what really is happening underneath.
mm. I hear that a lot from coaches, and I also have experienced that myself when I've been coached, that very often what your consciousness says, this is the problem, your subconscious says, there's something else beneath here. Yes. Yeah. And it's fascinating to explore. Um, you mentioned earlier, Bayo, that one of the things that kind of sets you apart is that you very quickly figure out whether the relationship you have with the coachee is working, and you're happy to call it out, or recommend that they move somewhere else or into a different kind of intervention if it's appropriate. What else do you want people to know you for as a coach?
Let's get all the hard words out. I I it's interesting. I mean, everyone's honest. Everyone should be honest in their professionalism, and the ICF, really pushes the ethics and values and stuff. So I have them in abundance. But what I do have is it's hard, and I'm it's I've lived a life. It's hard. My life hasn't been easy. It's been better than most. So what I have is an honesty, a brutal honesty about what can happen, what can't happen. And so therefore I ask questions around that. How much do you want to, how much are you prepared to work at it? What is the capacity? What is the, and it's not that one is doubting you, but it's about pushing you to really understand what's going to take. And we talked about learning, and what that has done for me is then to reverse coach me in terms of what do I need to do to get myself to where I need to get to. So what I'm good at, I think we talked about the three P's: people, plan, performance. But I think there is a nice brutal honesty. Got to put the word "nice" in there somewhere.
Nice and brutal.
Yeah, there's a nice honesty about engaging with a coach like me.
Fantastic. And I'm going to practice an ICF competence here, because I'm going to ask your permission to
Oh, I love
give
that one.
give an observation that my experience of being in this podcast episode with you today, Bayo, is that you have a very special presence about you that I don't think I've experienced with any other guest. That's really interesting. It's dynamic, and I'm going to leave it there. What do they say? We'll leave that on the table, and you can take it, or you can leave it. Yeah,
To be discussed. To be
to be
discussed.
discussed. Yes. Okay. So yeah, we are starting to run out of time. Amazing. In fact, we have big style run out of time. So I just want to ask you, Bay, have you got anything going on at the moment that you want to let listeners and watchers know that's happening? That they might be
Yes.
contacting you.
I'm based in London, South London, Lewisham, and I work very closely with the boroughs that I live in and live next door. So I'm going to be working with the London Borough of Lewisham in the south of the borough, really targeting hard to reach groups of individuals. They may be leaders of charities or organizations that find leadership and management difficult. So we're going to try and work with them to sort of give them that extra boost, confidence, clarity as such. And I'm doing something in Bromley with small business owners. I'm calling it the Bromley Business Growth Circle, cohorts of 7, something around peer-to-peer mastermind and group coaching We started a couple of months ago. It's a monthly thing, and it's really good. 7 business coaches, no holds bar, how they're going to grow, what's been working, what's not been working, and I try to facilitate that. That's proven to be exciting. So those are the 2 big things. And then coaching on a one-to-one basis, which I love doing, because as this podcast has shown, it's learning curve, and more importantly, it's a real positive outcome results that we hopefully deliver as coaches.
Fantastic. That's a perfect spot on which to end. Bayo, thank you so much for guesting on
Thank you,
Case
Julie.
by Case 2020 Coaching Convos. Yes, so we must shout out your coaching business name again. It's the BigohCoaching. Thank you. It's been great to hear your reflections. And thank you to listeners and watchers. If you like what you see and hear, please subscribe and share, and tell me what you want to hear more about on 2020 Coaching Convos with me, Julie Crabb.